This is Pattern Interrupt, a short episode designed to gently disrupt a belief or habit that may be quietly shaping how you feel in dating. Let's talk about something that many thoughtful women consider carefully: how to end things in a way that feels clear, respectful, and not abrupt. There's a question that comes up quietly for many women in dating. How do I end things in a way that feels clear and respectful without the other person feeling blindsided? And underneath that question, there's often something deeper: a desire to handle the situation thoughtfully, a desire not to hurt someone unnecessarily, a desire to communicate well, which are all very grounded instincts, but there's an important distinction to understand here. Even when you communicate clearly, someone can still feel blindsided. Because feeling blindsided is not always about how something was communicated. It's often about the difference in emotional experience on each side. If someone has become emotionally invested more quickly, they may experience the relationship as further along, more certain, more connected, more meaningful. So when the relationship ends, it doesn't feel like a natural progression. It feels like something unexpected. And this is where it becomes important to gently shift what you're aiming for. The goal is not to control how the other person feels. The goal is to communicate in a way that is clear, kind, and grounded in truth. Because when communication becomes overly focused on preventing discomfort, it can become unclear or overly softened or extended longer than it needs to be. So what does grounded communication actually look like in a moment like this? It often sounds simple. Something along the lines of, "I've really appreciated getting to know you, and I think you're a thoughtful person. But as I've spent more time in this, I'm realizing I'm not feeling the level of connection I would want to continue." Notice what this does. It's kind, it's clear, and it does not over-explain. There's no need to list out every small detail, and there's no need to justify your experience. There's no need to point to something being wrong, because often nothing is clearly wrong. It's simply not the right fit. And another important piece is timing. When something begins to feel misaligned, it's helpful to respond to that earlier rather than later. Not abruptly, but also not waiting for a more obvious reason to appear. Because when something is extended beyond where it feels aligned, that's often when the ending feels more surprising to the other person. And even then, they may still feel blindsided. And this is where we return to that earlier distinction. Their emotional experience is valid, but it is not something that you can fully manage. Your role is to be honest without being harsh, clear without being abrupt, and kind without overextending, and to allow the relationship to end in a way that reflects your actual experience. Because clarity, even when it's disappointing, is more respectful than prolonged uncertainty. There's also a deeper emotional layer to moments like this, especially when you're someone who naturally wants to be thoughtful and considerate in how you communicate. For those of you who want to go a little deeper, quietly, I recorded a private continuation where I talk about what I'd say if you were my client, the part we don't usually talk about publicly, and how to emotionally hold this week. That lives inside the members-only podcast feed, and you can learn more in the show notes. This episode is complete as it is. Stay steady, and I'll see you next time.